ceremonies today. Military members, please be advised this is being treated as an outdoor ceremony. Salute as appropriate. On behalf of the Army and Air Force Reserve Officer Training Corps units, I welcome you to our 2024 Joint Commissioning Ceremony. To preserve the dignity of today's events, please take a moment to silence your cell phones and other electronic devices. Today is a monumental occasion for the young men and women who will be taking the commissioning oath and pledging their lives to our republic. Thank you for joining us in recognition of this commitment and to celebrate the completion of ROTC instruction and the transition to the Officer Corps. We would like to extend a very special welcome to members of the Worcester Polytechnic Board of Trustees and distinguished members of the faculty and staff. We would also like to recognize Major General Robert Catalanati, United States Army retired, Assumption University President Gregory Weiner, Dr. Ura Sikuli, Dr. Everett Walters from Clark University, Student Affairs, Dr. Stephanie Texero, Director of Military Affairs from Worcester State University. We are also joined today by our distinguished guest speaker's wife, Lisa Leone. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please rise and direct your attention behind you for the entrance of the commissionees. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the members of the commissioning party. Brigadier General Andrew J. Leone is the commissioning officer of today's event. He is the Mobilization Assistant to Military Deputy, Office of the Assistant Secretary of the Air Force for Acquisition, Technology, and Logistics. Dr. Grace Wong is the President of Worcester Polytechnic Institute. Lieutenant Colonel Adam Messer is the Professor of Aerospace Studies and Commander of Detachment 340, Air Force Reserve Officers Training Corps. Lieutenant Colonel Joseph Mizaki is the Professor of Military Science of the Bay State Battalion Army Reserve Officer Training Corps. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the presentation of colors, our national anthem, and invocation. At this time, I invite Colonel Christian Che to the podium for the invocation.
All who are willing, I invite you to join me in prayer. Almighty and gracious God, I give you thanks, the blessing of this day, and for giving us this amazing opportunity to gather together with friends, families, cadre, and distinguished guests to witness the time-honored ceremony of commissioning these graduating cadets into our United States Army, Air Force, and Space Force. There is no doubt that these cadets are some of our nation's brightest and best. Already, these young men and women have navigated through the challenges of a global pandemic. They have excelled in the classroom, and now they're stepping up to take on the awesome responsibility of leading the world's greatest military forces to protect our nation and our allies against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Strengthen them always with steadfast courage and moral wisdom to lead well. We also recognize today that over the past 4 years, these cadets have gathered here at WPI, where the motto is Lehre und Kunst, or theory and practice, to gain academic knowledge and to forge their leadership abilities. And now, in a few short weeks and months, these brand new graduates will take on the skills that they have developed here to lead soldiers, airmen, and guardians, the less than 1% of Americans who voluntarily serve in the U.S. military. They will lead them as they defend the front lines, maintain air superiority, and secure the ultimate high ground. May they always know that they are not alone, that our nation stands behind them, and that we believe in them. May they hold firm to the proud heritage, the tradition of honor, and the legacy of brave warriors who have come before them. And finally, I want to thank you for the families, cadres, and professors who have poured out their love, experience, and wisdom upon these soon-to-be commissioned second lieutenants. May they feel the pride of a job well done in raising, training, and educating our nation's future uniformed leaders. And now, with great hope that one day we will truly experience lasting freedom and peace, I pray all of this in your most holy name. Amen.
Please be seated. It is now my privilege to welcome Lieutenant Colonel Adam Messer, Professor of Aerospace Studies and Commander of Detachment 340, Air Force Reserve Officer Training Corps.
So it's my pleasure this afternoon to introduce our commissioning officer. Brigadier General Andrew J. Leone started out his Air Force journey right here at WPI just yesterday. Maybe a little bit more than yesterday. During his time, he actually served in our detachment's color guard and drill team, so no pressure to them. They did an outstanding job. After commissioning, he went on to be an acquisitions officer before switching over to be a navigator for the C-141, one of the big planes that hauls things around the world for us. He had combat hours over Kosovo, Macedonia. Following his transition over to the Air Force Reserves, he's commanded a logistics squadron, held numerous joint assignments, and also deployed to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. Currently, he's the mobilization assistant to the military deputy of the Office of the Assistant Secretary of the Air Force for Acquisition, Technology, and Logistics. He works at the Pentagon. Long duty title. There, he is responsible for assisting in research and development, test production, product support, and modernization of Air Force programs worth more than $60 billion with a B annually. Ladies and gentlemen, General.
Thank you, Adam. Appreciate that, and appreciate you not revealing what I actually graduated here, but it was back when the earth was still cooling, back in 1991. Chaplain Shea, that was a wonderful, wonderful invocation. I appreciate that very much, and we all do. This is a momentous occasion for these commissionees on the stage today, and it's a joy to be here and partake in it. I'd like to, before we get into it, I'd like to recognize and start off with thanking the families, the friends, the loved ones, the aunts, the uncles, brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers, and everybody else that helped shape these commissionees and get them here. So let's take a moment for the families, please. Fellow educators, instructors, professors, other academic institution presidents, other distinguished guests, thank you for being here. President Wong, Institute President Wong, it's a pleasure to have just met you and also have had a chance to talk before we came up here. Your continued support for this ROTC program for both the Army and the Air Force is appreciated greatly, and we thank you for that. Thank you, ma'am. And also I'd like to recognize other members of the military that are here, active duty, reserve, guard, separated, retired. Thank you for your service and thank you for being here. It takes a family, and it's no small wonder that when these commissionees are up here that many of you in their orbit and in their support system have also served, so thank you as well. So like it's been said before, it was almost 33 years ago to the date that I stood over in Higgins' house across campus, and I raised my right hand and took this solemn oath. And again, it's being over there this morning with our Air Force commissionees brought back a lot of memories. So very, very poignant. Back then, when I started here, Det 340 for the Air Force side was located at Holy Cross. So it was across town. So we used to have to commute in that first year, but as I've come to learn, a number of the Air Force folks at Det 340 actually even commuted from as far as Brown University. So I thought we had a tough gig just commuting across town to get to our detachment, let alone coming up from Rhode Island. So for those that are making the trip, it's really, that makes a statement as far as how much these young men and women want to be a part of this defense of this nation. When I was here and I was going through the training program, I thought, man, I'm going to get stationed faraway places, go see the world. And I got my first assignment, and the Air Force didn't let me down. They stationed me at Hanscom Air Force Base, 45 minutes down the road. Turned out to be a great job, really. One of my favorite assignments. I was already embedded into the community here in Massachusetts, and being able to just go 45 minutes down the road and serve and see the business end of the Air Force and acquisitions was great. And I point this out for all of you because that's really one of the first lessons I want to say is, or notions. The direction you start off with, that you think you're going, oftentimes changes right after you get going. Sometimes it changes because of external factors, such as the military. We serve with the pleasure of. But sometimes it's also your own course alignment, and you have to make those changes. So stay flexible. It's important more than ever. And the other thing, another point I'd like to offer you, and I'm sure you've heard this before, but after someone who's done this for about 33 decades, learn from the other leaders around you. As you start your careers, look and emulate the good qualities in the leaders around you. And I don't just mean the officers. I mean the enlisted, the civilians, and the other leaders that you interact with. Learn from them. Use those good tools that you see and emulate them. Sometimes you'll come across non-examples as well. Learn from them as well, and use that to adjust your compass. Since we have commissionees here from the Army and the Air Force, I'll tell a story back from when I was a lieutenant on active duty. I was at Hanscom, and I was in charge of getting together on the acquisition side. We had to find certain specific types of equipment for a weapons support system. And this equipment was called dolly sets. It was very unique. Now mind you, this was just after the Gulf War. We looked everywhere. Our charge was to find this equipment and get it out of inventory because we didn't have time to go through the full cycle of acquisition. Well, we found it. Not in the Air Force, but the Army had it. And the Army had a lot of them. So after checking around, I convinced my boss to let me go to Utah to take a look at these dolly sets. When I got out there, I had a wonderful visit. The Army accommodated me very well. They took me out into the blistering desert of Utah and took me past rows and rows of dolly sets. And I'm like, man, this is great. If we can only get 12 of them. While I was looking at all this equipment, there was other equipment out there. Tons of military material. Other types of equipment called ECUs, big air conditioners. These had also come back from the desert. Well, I asked the Army, I said, can we find a way to get 12 of these dolly sets? The answer I got was no. But I asked them about these environmental control units. And I said, what are you doing with these ECUs? And they said, well, those have all been depleted. They need to be fully restored in order to get them back into service and get them back into the hands of the warfighter. I went back to Hanscom, and I just thought about that for a while. And I said, what if there's a way to get those environmental control units fixed for the Army? Maybe they'll like that so much that they'll find a way to give us some dolly sets. And we did. We found out the folks out in a place called Sacramento Air Logistics Center, which is not there anymore, they had an expertise in repairing these ECUs. They needed work. The Army needed the stuff fixed. We connected them. We did military interdepartment transfer of money, and it all worked out. And a couple of months later, there was a surplus of 12 dolly sets that came over into our program. So I'm not telling you this story to tell you about what I did. I'm telling you this story I want you to be intrapreneurs. I want you to think differently. You're going to encounter a bureaucracy that is large. Make no mistake about that. We are in a large bureaucracy. Try and find ways to hack the system, ethically and morally, but try and find ways to hack the system. Get to yes. Get to yes. Try and get to yes, okay? Our national defense strategy identifies the PRC as the most consequential strategic competitor and the pacing challenge for the department going forward. A conflict with a pure competitor will be a tough one. It will be likely in all domains: air, space, cyberspace, land, and sea. And if a conflict occurs, it will be separated by an absolute desert, vast desert of ocean. We have to think differently. Technology is moving fast, and we've got to move faster. Both our adversaries' technology and ours. Our operators need to think and anticipate to current and emerging threats, both kinetic and non-kinetic. Our engineering and acquisition professionals will work with complex systems and AI. And the operations are challenging, exciting, and required. They demand organizational change. We have a saying in the Air Force, multi-capable airmen, and what it simply means is we're going to do things outside of our career field and have to be able to provide services to our department that are not necessarily what we're trained for. So you see the pattern of staying nimble, staying agile. Remember that. All services are going through one or another digital transformation. We are in a digital era, so you need to rely more and more on subject matter experts and keep your chops. Keep honed, keep your skills honed. Above all, make good decisions and lead. Make good decisions and lead. And the Air Force Force side, we're going through reoptimization for great power competition, and that basically means we're reorganizing the Air Force. And on a macro level, it means pivoting away from a counterinsurgency type environment in Southwest Asia to a pure adversary contest on the other side of the planet. And that requires major realignment, and many of my brothers and sisters on the stage on the Air Force side will see this changes, both in the Air Force and the Space Force. I work in the Pentagon. It's a beautiful building. It's 83 years old, built in 1941. Oftentimes I'm running up the stairs to get to a meeting, and many of those stairs are these stone steps. Those stone stairways are beveled and hollowed from the millions of footsteps of those that have gone before us and walked through that building, from the hundreds and thousands of service members that have worked there. It reminds me that we're not alone. You're never alone in your career. There's always someone there, your family, your military family. Rely on your training. Your decision to follow in those footsteps of those that came before us and to serve and lead those that come after our nation is good. I think General MacArthur said it best in his address to the cadets at West Point when he said, "You are the custodians of our nation's defense." He said the word custodian. I think he chose his words very carefully. You're the caretakers of our national defense. So in closing, I want you to ask yourself, if you remember nothing else, are you moving the needle? As you start your career, are you moving the needle on warfighting capability? Or what you're doing helping the defense of our nation get better? Those questions will help you stay centered and grow and lead throughout the service. We have 330 million people in our country, 2.1 million wear the uniform of our country. That's 2.1 million in the active Guard reserves that put on the uniform every day of our country. And today, all of you are adding to that number. Your solemn oath, your decision to serve is noble and good, and it's needed most in today's younger generation. Thank you for your decision to serve. It's an honor to be alongside you today. I wish you Godspeed in your career. Thank you.
As a small token of our appreciation of you speaking here today, General, we got you a couple of cups, whatever beverage of choice you want to partake in. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. There's two.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will now pin the rank on our new officers. This portion of the ceremony is a long-standing military tradition which highlights the significance of placing a higher rank on a uniform for the first time. At this time, we will have the commissionees take their place. Commissionees, post.
Center, face. Forward, march.
Family and friends may now join their commissionees up front to perform the pinning of their new rank. Please be prepared to return to your original seats within 5 minutes. As the commissionees get ready to wear their second lieutenant rank for the first time, I will read the officer's commission citation. Know ye that reposing special trust and confidence in the patriotism, valor, fidelity, and abilities of these individuals, they are appointed second lieutenants in the United States military. As of 8 May 2024, this officer therefore carefully and diligently discharge the duties of the office to which they are appointed by doing and performing all manner of things thereunto belonging. And I do strictly charge and require those officers and other personnel of lesser rank to render such obedience as is due an officer of this grade and position. And this officer is to observe the following such orders and directions from time to time as may be given by the President of the United States of America or by other superior officers acting in accordance with the laws of the United States of America. This commission is to continue in force during the pleasure of the President of the United States of America under the provisions of those public laws relating to officers of the armed forces of the United States of America and the component thereof in which this appointment is made. gentlemen, please make your way back to your seats at this time. Thank you. Commissionees, post. This concludes the pinning portion of our ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, we understand the significance that this day has to you, the friends and family of our commissionees. To respect the importance of the oath of office, please remain seated and refrain from taking photos until the administration of the oath is complete. We have a professional photographer in place and will make these photos available to you. Brigadier General Andrew J. Leone is our commissioning officer and will be administering the oath of office. The oath of office is a solemn undertaking. Today, our commissionees pledge to serve our nation's Constitution while protecting the American people and their values. The oath is posted at the front of the stage so that everyone may follow along as the cadets complete their final task to commission as a second lieutenant. Brigadier General Andrew J. Leone will now administer the oath of office. All military personnel, please stand.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Having been appointed a second lieutenant in the United States Armed Services. Do solemnly swear. That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States. Against all enemies. Foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith. And allegiance to the same. That I take this obligation freely. Without any mental reservation. Or purpose of evasion. And that I will well and faithfully. Discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter. So help me God.
Commissionees, post. We will now present a commission to each new officer and recognize those officers selected as distinguished military graduates. Once the commission is presented, the newly commissioned officer will receive their first salute. It is tradition that the person who participates in the first salute receives a silver dollar from the new officer. This tradition has its roots in the British military, where newly commissioned officers were assigned to an enlisted soldier. Their enlisted mentor would train them, teach them the history of the regiment, and ensure their equipment met appropriate standards. It was customary for the grateful lieutenant to compensate this enlisted member with a small sum of money, a tradition which lives on and which we honor today. It signifies the deep sense of respect and gratitude which all officers have for their enlisted counterparts. If you are rendering a first salute to one of our new officers, look to the left of the stage where you'll see Master Sergeant Conley, and please make your way to him at this time. We would now like to invite Brigadier General Andrew J. Leone and President Wong to please come forward to present the commissions. Carissa Che attended Brown University and will serve as a Medical Service Corps officer. Lieutenant Che will receive her first salute from Master Sergeant Andrew Moody, United States Air Force. Brett Cohen attended Worcester Polytechnic Institute and will serve as a maintenance officer. Lieutenant Cohen will receive his first salute from Master Sergeant Andrew Moody, United States Air Force. Michael Dayton attended Worcester Polytechnic Institute and will serve as a developmental engineer. Lieutenant Dayton will receive his first salute from Master Sergeant Andrew Moody, United States Air Force. Patrick Healy attended Worcester Polytechnic Institute and will serve as a maintenance officer and acquisition officer. Lieutenant Healy will receive his first salute from Master Sergeant Andrew Moody, United States Air Force. Daniel Kim attended Brown University and will serve as an air battle manager. Lieutenant Kim will receive his first salute from Master Sergeant Andrew Moody, United States Air Force. Nicholas Latsis attended Worcester Polytechnic Institute and will serve as a maintenance officer and acquisition officer. Lieutenant Latsis will receive his first salute from Master Sergeant Andrew Moody, United States Air Force. Megan List attended Brown University and will serve as a medical student at Drexel University College of Medicine. Lieutenant List will receive her first salute from Staff Sergeant Lance List, United States Army. Hannah Long attended Brown University and will serve as a developmental engineer in the United States Space Force. Lieutenant Long will receive her first salute from Master Sergeant Andrew Moody, United States Air Force. McKevitt attended Worcester Polytechnic Institute and will serve as an intelligence officer. Lieutenant McKevitt will receive his first salute from Command Sergeant Major Thomas McKevitt. Abigail Pulling attended Worcester Polytechnic Institute and will serve as a civil engineer. Lieutenant Pulling will receive her first salute from Master Sergeant Andrew Moody, United States Air Force. Joshua Roberts attended Worcester Polytechnic Institute and will serve as a developmental engineer. Lieutenant Roberts will receive his first salute from Sergeant Matthew Roberts, United States Army. Erica Verity is a distinguished graduate. She attended Worcester Polytechnic Institute and will serve as a Space Operations Officer in the United States Space Force. Lieutenant Verity will receive her first salute from Master Sergeant Andrew Moody, United States Air Force.
Peter Rangotti, Clark University, active duty, branch, armor. Lieutenant Angotti will receive his first salute from Master Sergeant James Conley. Coleman Benson, distinguished military graduate, College of the Holy Cross, active duty, branch, infantry. Lieutenant Benson will receive his first salute from Sergeant First Class Donald Voda. Kelly Bush, Worcester Polytechnic Institute, Connecticut National Guard, branch, Medical Service Corps. Lieutenant Bush will receive her first salute from Sergeant First Class Donald Voda. Luca Christensen, Worcester Polytechnic Institute, active duty, branch, Ordnance Corps. Lieutenant Christensen will receive his first salute from Master Sergeant James Conley. Joel Ekstrom, Worcester Polytechnic Institute, Minnesota National Guard, branch, armor. Lieutenant Ekstrom will receive his first salute from Sergeant First Class Donald Voda. Raphael Fahmy, Worcester State University, Massachusetts National Guard, branch, Corps of Engineers. Lieutenant Fahmy will receive his first salute from Sergeant First Class Donald Voda. Edward Flanagan, Worcester Polytechnic Institute, Massachusetts National Guard, branch, Corps of Engineers. Lieutenant Flanagan will receive his first salute from Sergeant First Class Donald Voda. Franklin Ford, distinguished military graduate, Worcester Polytechnic Institute, active duty, branch, air defense artillery. receive his first salute from Master Sergeant James Conley. Seton King, distinguished military graduate, Worcester Polytechnic Institute, Army Reserves, Branch Transportation Corps. Lieutenant King will receive his first salute from Master Sergeant James Conley. Joseph Clear, College of the Holy Cross, active duty, Branch Transportation Corps. Lieutenant Clear will receive his first salute from Sergeant First Class Donald Boda. Jared Kruger, Worcester Polytechnic Institute, Army Reserves, Branch Corps of Engineers. Lieutenant Kruger will receive his first salute from Sergeant First Class Donald Boda. Noah Laren, distinguished military graduate, Assumption University, Massachusetts National Guard, Branch Military Intelligence. Lieutenant Laren will receive his first salute from Specialist Nicholas Laren, United States Army. And Anna O'Neill, College of the Holy Cross, New Jersey National Guard, Branch Adjutant General's Corps. Lieutenant O'Neill will receive her first salute from retired Sergeant Chris Livingston, U.S. Army. At this time, the members of the official party may return to their seats. Lieutenants, post. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating the commissioning class of 2024.
Thank you, Major Gim. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the playing of the Space Force, Air Force, and Army songs. We invite you to join the new officers in singing their service songs. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the departure of the official party. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our formal ceremony. You're welcome to utilize this space for additional pictures. We also have ice cream up front that is being provided by the WPI Alumni Association. Commissioning class of 2024, dismissed.